High-def DVDs are the king of Sparta. Halo 3 is gigantic, to say the least. And Stardust is shining its way to box office gold, apparently. It's time for the best of the best. It's The Loop Week in Review. All right, my guest tonight, host of the upcoming Mahalo Daily podcast, Veronica Belmont is here. Associate editor for Destructoid, Colette Bennett joins us, and editor-in-chief of IESB.net, Robert Sanchez is here. Welcome to The Loop, everybody. Let's start things off with the HD, DVD, and Blu-ray versions of 300. I mean, these things shattered records this week. They became the fastest-selling next-gen DVDs ever, moving over 250,000 copies in a single week. Robert, let's start with you, sir. Does this mean that the next-gen DVD formats are finally taken off? Have they arrived?
Well, it's really hard to tell, considering that Warner Brothers has yet to release how many DVDs in total has been sold in each format. So it's hard to tell, but just like any other of the predecessors, I'm sure that HD DVD is gaining ground, and same thing with Blu-ray.
Veronica, are we even surprised that, I mean, they sold over 250,000. Are we surprised that there's that many HD DVD and Blu-ray owners out there to begin with?
Well, that was the whole point of people getting on to HD, DVD, and Blu-ray. It's such a high, you have to pay so much money to get into it that a lot of people were guessing that it wouldn't catch on very quickly. But now we're getting a lot more interesting titles, and people are starting to buy.
And are the prices now at an acceptable point for John Q. Public, for the average consumer?
Well, of course the hits are still going to be a lot more expensive, but I think it's coming down a bit.
Now, Colette, what about the 300? Did it convert you at all? Are you a high-def DVD watcher?
It hasn't converted me. I have seen some amazing stuff, HD, and just been floored by it. But, of course, for me, the first thing I think about when I think about Blu-ray is about PS3, and I know that no matter how amazing it looks, it's still not going to make me run out and buy a PS3.
Very true. But, I mean, is it just the price at this point, or is it the fact that you need another reason to own a PS3?
I think that it'll probably, and I think a lot of people have said this, be pushed along a lot by seeing a better library come out for it, and that may be in film, available as well as in games. But I think that the average gamer is just, they're still not ready to spend that $600.
That's true.
But looking at what was released, 300, this is the ultimate movie to watch in high def. This is the
Who
perfect.
wouldn't want it?
Agreed.
Exactly. So this was the perfect, movie to really test the market. And I think with other upcoming releases, we'll probably see even a bigger jump on the HD side.
Sure. Well, looking at the units sold for the movie itself is interesting. I'm waiting to see if there was a hardware spike at all when this movie was released. I mean, how many extra players were pushed? But let's move on to another piece of your media center. Of course, Microsoft finally slashed the price of the Xbox 360 this week. Now they're hoping to convert Madden fans next week when the blockbuster game is released. Veronica, do you think the millions of PS2 owners will finally jump on board and maybe pick up a 360 for just the new Madden version?
Well, we have been waiting for a price drop in the Xbox 360 for a really long time, but I think that the Xbox 360 has been doing really well in terms of sales, especially compared to the PS3, and I think a lot of people will make the switch finally.
Colette, do you think $50 off, I mean, is that really that much of an incentive for people to choose a 360 right now?
I think that it's not only the $50 off. I think it's also a matter of comparison in between your other systems that, PS3 is still so expensive. Xbox Live is possibly the most, amazing live experience that you can have playing with other people. And I think that a lot of people have their friends getting it, grabbing it. I think it's really going to push the system.
Robert, what do you think? I mean, is the 360 going to continue to just dominate for the rest of this year?
Well, it's continuing to dominate, but at the same time, you still have other consoles like Wii, because of the price point. Mom and Dad are going to buy this, for the younger kids. But absolutely, Xbox is definitely doing great.
When it comes to the hardcore gamers, there's no comparison between the Wii versus the Xbox 360 and the PS3. I mean, the real gamers, not just the parents and the older people, younger people, are really going to get the Xbox 360 when it comes down to it still.
Well, let's talk about a game for the real gamers then. I mean, of course, Halo 3, this thing has sort of transcended the video game. Now it's being marketed like a blockbuster movie. I think 7-Elevens are going to reskin themselves for the release of this game. I mean, some have even taken pre-orders. It's due out next month. It's already the fastest-selling pre-order ever with over 1 million copies reserved. I mean, Colette, does this game even need as much attention as Microsoft is buying up for it?
It doesn't, but it doesn't matter because the more attention they throw out there for it, the more people are going to go and buy like Slurpees with Halo on it and
Right.
like, shower curtains with Halo on it. So it doesn't matter. I think that that's just, more and more money and more excitement about what will probably be, the biggest game that we've seen for a long time.
I think it's the first time we actually see like Burger King doing promotional tie-ins for a video game as well, and that's going to start.
The ring of Halo curly fries, or
something like that. Yeah, they're going to have king size or Halo size fries.
But I mean, we keep talking about it like it is this video game. But Robert, is there a chance that this could gross even more than the movies released in September?
Well, absolutely. Halo 2 did 125. The first day it debuted. So the fact that this has sold 1 million copies, and pre-ordered, this is going to make tons of money, and hopefully it'll make Fox and Universal take note and actually greenlight the film. Hopefully.
Now, Veronica, do you think like a Master Chief flavored Mountain Dew could that actually hurt the Halo brand at this point, or do people not even care?
I'm just wondering who's going to buy the Halo 3 branded Xbox 360. That thing is ugly.
Very true. And when Peter Moore pulled it out at E3 and there was a complete lack of reaction amongst everybody.
Dead silence.
Yeah. Hopefully that sent a message. Speaking of dead silence, let's talk about fantasy fans who are supposedly going to go crazy when they finally see Neil Gaiman's Stardust this weekend. Look, I love Neil Gaiman. I love his work, but Robert, is this movie going to live up to expectations? I mean, his fan base, they really appreciate him. They really care. And I just can't get past the posters myself.
It's kind of shocking to see that the same studio that released, Transformers is also releasing Stardust. Stardust is a good film. People do need to go see it tonight. But, the marketing has not been great. People don't really know what it's about. It's one of Neil Gaiman's better works, but yet I don't think the everyday movie-going audience has any idea what this movie's about.
Right. Colette,
it's so bizarre.
Veronica, go ahead. No, do you think it's going to take the #1 spot this weekend, or is that going to go to Bratz?
I doubt it. I mean, it's a whole bunch of famous people, and I didn't even know the movie was coming out, and I'm a huge fantasy fan, and I love all his novels, and it was just like, okay, Michelle Pfeiffer and Robert De Niro are all in this movie, and it's about what now? It was really weird.
Right. Colette, I mean, Michelle Pfeiffer is kind of a super gilf. I'm a big fan, but do you think that's enough to get people to pack the theaters?
No. I don't think that, even if you go back to fantasy movies when they were really popular in the 80s, they were packing the theaters more then, but still they were, the big, impact is much later. And if anything, I think that maybe this movie will be do the same thing. I'd like to see it succeed, but I don't think it will.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about the fantasy movie thing, because, we've got Harry Potter and we've got the Golden Compass coming out. There's a really big market for fantasy movies right now, so the timing's not so bad. It's just the promotion for this movie in particular has been poor.
Yeah. The outdoor campaigns have been ridiculous. Wicked Witches and Flying Pirates. It just doesn't seem like they've really figured out how to market the movie. And again, we're talking about Neil Gaiman, we're talking about Michelle Pfeiffer, we're talking about Robert De Niro, some of the greatest names in the entertainment industry, but yet middle America has not discovered this film.
Sure. And when you get, those sophomores in their high school Photoshop class to do the retouching on the posters, again, I have trouble looking past it. But that's going to do it for the Loop Week in Review. I want to thank Veronica, Colette, and Robert for joining us. We appreciate it, guys.
Attack of the Show, weeknights at 7, only on G4.